Guys, I just made the biggest fish keeping mistake of my entire hobby. Contemplated even telling you or making this video, but I feel like I can possibly help some of you out there not make the same mistake and learn how you can avoid what I did. What's up, guys? It's KG Aquatics. Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today's video, as you can tell by the thumbnail, is a sad one. I lost a lot of crayfish, and it's all due to this one thing known as the crayfish plague. So we're going to go in depth about the crayfish plague, its origins, what the heck happened to all my crayfish, and stuff like that. So what exactly is the crayfish plague? It's a very unknown topic from a scientific perspective. Scientists aren't sure what exactly it is. They do not know if it is a water mold or an algae. It has similarities to both, but is different to both. And it's kind of a mixture. I'm not going to try to pronounce the scientific name. So basically what it is, it's infects your crayfish and gives these gnarly black markings on the side of the plague, as seen in this image I'm popping up on the screen here. And it is very bad for your crayfish. They will die within 3 weeks after getting infected, and they will basically, towards the end, they will start hopping around on their legs, which is an action known as walking on stilts, as it's commonly called in the scientific areas. And it's basically a very bad thing for your crayfish. And so some signs your crayfish might have it, other than the black markings: they might start not responding to light. Crayfish do not like light, and most of the time, if they have the plague, they do not care about light. They will act really strange and unusual. Like, you have your normal behavior range in your crayfish, and that'll change. And that's some symptoms you might have it. So now let's get on to where this disease even came from anyway. So the plague actually starts from red swamp crayfish. As you can see, a black splotch right there, that's a plague marking on him. He also has some on his legs, but these are the crayfish that carry the plague the most. They come from the United States, the southeastern United States, and they're shipped worldwide as food choice, and they'll get sent to places, all over Europe. The plague is killing off all of the signal crayfish. On top of the red swamps becoming invasive, they're bringing in their plague and killing all the crayfish native to Europe. And it's a disaster, so that's a little more about it. So how might this plague affect you as a hobbyist? So like I mentioned, crayfish are shipped worldwide. They're also shipped worldwide as pets. Blue crayfish, most notably, Saw-Pro, Canberra's, Clarkie, they all carry the crayfish plague and can bring it to new ecosystems, or in my case, your fish tanks. So, how did I get this plague exactly? Remember a couple videos back where I got all the ghost crayfish from Bob's Tropical Fish? So, turns out they were the introducers of this crayfish plague. I looked back at footage with them, and I could clearly see the plague splotches on the bottom of them. They told me there that they quarantined them for 2 weeks, so I automatically assumed that they were good and could go into the tank with no problems, and obviously that was a mistake. So after I bought the crayfish from Bob's, I introduced them to the 20-gallon where they lived in dividers because they fight to kill each other, and that wasn't going to stop the plague from spreading. They infected all of the fish in the tank, and it spread. Of course, I breed them. Didn't stop there. I took the female fireball that I got, bred it with my male fireball, and therefore that infected my male fireball and my ghost crayfish that were in that tank. And it just nothing worked right. I tried calling the store asking if they had any ideas because I bought the plague from them. They said they had no ideas. They told me that it was not their fault that they sold me the plague, and that the crawfish fought each other to death, and that was the cause of death, which obviously really angered me. They had dividers. They can't fight each other to death if they can't get to each other. Like this white one can't get to the red swamp because there's a divider. And which brings me to my next news, which normally I'd be ecstatic. So remember when I bred her with the white one, I bred her with my fireball. She actually is in bearing right now, which is a fancy word for saying she's pregnant. She has eggs. And so why am I not ecstatic? She has the plague, and therefore all of her babies are going to die along with her, and there's nothing I can do about it. So you might be wondering, well, you're this big fish guy, why didn't you treat this crayfish plague? There are no treatments once the crayfish is infected that 100% work. There's no medicine, nothing like that. So the best option, I had to shut down the 20-gallon crayfish tank. I moved the survivors into this 10-gallon if they did not have plague splotches. That 5-gallon if they did. There used to actually be 2 more 5 gallons on either side of the tank, but all the crayfish in there, they all died, and the plague killed them all, so I had to, I moved the tanks into the closet to air out until I can, until they can be certain that they don't have plague left in them and I can use them for something else. Well, in the process of making this video, we lost another crayfish. This is my male white specter crayfish, who, as you can tell, just died. So I'm not going to go into much depth about each crayfish that died. I'm just kind of zooming over all of the claws of the crayfish that have died of the plague. So, most notably, Biggest Blue, Pinchy the Red Claw, all of my ghosts and fireballs that were in the 20-gallon, just basically everything. So right here you can see my male fireball, who is actually in my ghost's enclosure because he is infected. This tank had the divider, and he was infected, and the ghost was not. So I took the ghost out and moved her into this 10-gallon tank with the divider with my male tangerine and her. And they were the only two that do not have the infection, or that I do not think has the infection. I'm not even sure about that. Luckily, my new ghost crayfish and my zebra crayfish do not have the plague because they are in separate tanks from the rest of the crayfish, and therefore they do not have the plague. However, even in this time of tragedy, I can never say no to a new pet crayfish, and when my friend KG Aquatics J offered me up this Australian red claw female, since I lost Pinchy, I was certainly willing to take her in. He said that he actually got the plague too and is dealing with the same kinds of problems. I think he made his video of his own about like this, and so he said that he did not want to give her the plague, and so he gave her to me, and she's living in a quarantine tank right now. And so I just thought I'd let y'all know about that too. So for those of you who watched my last video where we got the ghost crayfish from Bob's, you know I was with my other friend KG Aquatics G, and he also bought the ghost crayfish, and that killed all of his crayfish. I mean, I got lucky. He has everything but 2 blue crayfish, I believe, have died of his. And so I just thought I'd let you know that if you were inquisitive enough to watch that last video and see that he bought more ghost crayfish than I did from there. We do have more survivors than I showed originally. We also have my mini tangerine crayfish, which we got in the video where we took in baby red swamp crayfish, who is doing just fine. I moved her into a tank, otherwise from the other ones, with this white male from Snowball's batch, which I thought I'd raise up and breed the 2 of them and see if we could experiment and make a fireball. So this is the end of today's video. Please remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below, I guess, what's the first colored crayfish you'd like me to start buying again. Hopefully I will be getting new crayfish in future videos and eventually have everything back to the way it was, given enough time. I am going to take a break from buying new crayfish until Christmas, where I should start, I'll actually put a shelving unit in my closet and start doing a system in there for crayfish, and once I get there I'll be buying more crayfish, so there probably won't be a lot of crayfish content on the channel until then. So until next time, see you in the next video.